Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, June the 21st, 2018. It's time for another Technical Alpha podcast. Before I go any further, let me just make sure this is appropriate. I think that's got it. And I think we have it set up for this. Let me press this button. Yep, close enough. Great. Awesome. It is Technical Alpha Podcast, and we are back with some more shenanigans. It's a slow time in the industry because E3 just ended, and everyone blew all of their loads all at the same time, and now we're waiting for the re-up. And, the industry isn't like some, 19, 20-year-old where you just roll over and shit's ready to go. Take some time. Take some time to get back into it, but we do have a couple of things that we can talk about, and just like the rest of LAGTV's career, we're really good at just bullshitting for long periods of time, so we're here with the podcast, and we're good to go. Mr. MaximusBlack, how are you doing this evening?
Good. I'm good.
Fantastic.
Just played Realm
Lots
all day.
of Realm all day, yes.
For the first time ever, literally in my entire career.
Okay.
My wrist is legitimately sore. Like towards the last 30 minutes or 45 minutes of playing, my wrist was like, oh shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I got like a nice little prop up here of some soft sweaters I'm laying my wrist on when I'm using it. I just think it was like, because I went 9 hours today, 9 hours yesterday, 12 hours the day before, and 12
You're an
hours
old man,
before.
Jeff. It's all
Now,
over.
I haven't been on the grizzle like that in a while. I gotta work my wrist muscles, and I haven't had a FAP session in quite some time. So it's just been, it is what it is.
It's coming back to get you. Is it your mouse hand that's bothering you?
No, my keyboard, mouse hand's fine.
Your keyboard hand. Yeah,
I barely move my mouse, right? Like,
yeah, because you have like 6 million DPI.
Yeah, like I literally
mouse.
move my wrist like this much. Like it's.
I used to do that too. Like I used to use a hard mouse mat and high DPI, and but your mouse pad is sticky like you haven't cleaned it in 5 years. So I actually don't know how the high DPI and the sticky mouse like pad results in you doing anything other than just your mouse fucking just all over the place. It's magic. You're a magician.
It works for me. It works.
It works out. It works out. Yeah, like I said, this week, nothing too crazy. I mean, as far as my end goes, my life is as exciting as the rash underneath my right arm is coming along. And I had some Subway today. That's where I'm at right now.
Adventurous.
I'm packing in the calories. Because I
had 2 hamburgers. I had so this morning I had a smoothie, Kayla made a smoothie, so I had like half a pretty tall thing of smoothie, and then I had a coffee on the way home from the hospital because I had got my
X-rays done, yeah.
And then I had 2 hamburgers at like 7:30. That was my day for food and water throughout the day.
I had some cereal, and then I managed to get all the way through the day. I had a lovely long afternoon of Twitter conversations. I really need to stop that. My life is going to be shortened exponentially if I keep doing that, so I just need to slow that roll. But did that for a bit, and then I went and I showered and shaved. I went so long without like shaving or like general care, because I've been having to wash underneath both of my arms twice a day to apply this like bullshit, and my arms like they feel like somebody's taken sandpaper to my underarms because
great. You've been talking about those armpits now for weeks.
Well, no, it hasn't been weeks because it's only happened for about 5 days.
That's it?
Yeah.
I could have sworn you talked about this last week on the last podcast.
Well, yeah. Well, no, you're right. It's probably been about a day or two before the last podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's not done yet. But on the plus side, another Subway today because when I weighed myself, what was it, 2 days ago? First thing in the morning. And I lost all that weight that I had gained slowly over time because it's not a small thing for me to put on weight. However, when I got sick before the move and then did the move and then got sick after the move, all of that effort that I had put in gone. All that weight was gone. And so I'm just like, well, I've got options. I either eat enough eggs until I never want to eat eggs again ever in my entire life, or I just break it up with some Subway. So today I broke it up with some Subway, and now here we are. Another foot-long steak and cheese, but the stomach stretched. I've got it all in. Cookies and all.
There you go. There you go. Your body's going to have fun.
I'm energized. PUBG sold 50 million copies, Jeff.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. In fact, it places it in the top 5 games of all time for sales. And the majority of those sales were on PC, which is surprising because it's not common, to think about the PC platform as being big enough to kind of sustain that kind of numbers, or those kind of numbers, because in the past, the only way to get those kind of numbers is if you're a console.
Well, there's probably also a lot of accounts that got banned for hacking that had to rebuy again.
Rebuying it over and over. Oh, absolutely.
A lot. Millions.
Chinese just swimming in it. Absolutely. But yeah, 50 million copies. Not that it's helped it whatsoever. The game is still a broken pile of dog shit. They put out a new map though, so
that's good.
Don't care. They got that going for them. And then the next thing that popped up on my list, it's a question we would toss out there. We could talk about it a little bit because we're relatively well versed in streaming in general. Somebody was asking, didn't necessarily ask the question, but was kind of generally speaking about it after some developers were talking about it. Do you think Twitch is hurting single-player games? Or live, and I won't say Twitch specifically. Let's just say live streaming. Do you think live streaming is hurting single-player games? Because, we've talked about this in the past on the podcast where there are schools of thought that think that single-player games are dying out because nobody wants to play single-player games anymore. And then the other camp that's saying, I don't know what you're talking about, just because a single-player game only sells 7 million copies, boo fucking who, and then PUBG sells 50 million, that doesn't mean that single-player games are dying. That just means that there's a different market for different things.
Yeah.
Do you think Twitch is helping, hurting, or hasn't really changed it all that much? In terms of the single player video game market?
I would say it would have an effect, but it's not, I don't think it's anything to have a discussion about, so to speak. Like, it isn't something that it would be for debate. Personally, it's hard to say no completely because, for one, the Twitch viewership and other streaming services like Mixer, Facebook, YouTube gaming, they're all getting more popular. Like, even though Twitch is blowing up, has become this mega thing.
I'm waiting for Instagram.
All of them, and even Instagram, you can do up to like hour-long VODs now or some shit.
That's like Instagram. What are they calling it?
Live
Instagram
or some
TV or IGTV, and it's basically only vertical. It was like, it's the thing that everyone hates, but Instagram fuck you guys, we're doing all vertical video. Deal with it. But 1 billion users, you best believe everyone's going to be fucking posting their shit on Instagram. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say it would have some kind of effect, but I don't. The thing is there's not a whole lot of great single player games, in my opinion. I mean, it's subjective, but single player games are far few in between. And I mean, even though there's a lot of single player games that suddenly have an online compatibility where you can co-op or some sort of online thing. And free to play. I think free to play is the thing. If anything, free to play is what is hurting single player games. I don't think it has anything to do too much with the streaming service. You can make the argument that, okay, well, if Soda Poppin' and Summit and Ninja are all playing The Last of Us 2, there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to buy the game because they're going to watch their favorite streamer play. It saves them money. They also don't have to play it themselves if they don't want to. Some people just like being part of a community and seeing people's reactions and being part of all that. And I mean, we're going to probably see not too long in the near future, and it's happening somewhat now, that Twitch is going to be interactive with single player games where the streamer is going to play the game, but the audience is going to be have a role of some sort. Is going to, I don't know how they're going to pull it off in terms of a AAA title or whatever, but I think down the road it's going to become more and more interactive for the stream where they feel like they're taking part. It's like, yeah, you aren't technically playing the game, but you're still witnessing it in the same eyes as even the players to an extent. So I would say free to play is hurting it, man. Is these battle royale games. Battle royale is so huge that when all the AAA guys are getting on it, Call of Duty's going to have it, Battlefield's going to have it. I mean, those were the type of publishers developers that didn't give a fuck about what computer players were doing. They were like, they go ahead and do their thing. We're the AAA monsters here. We're the GTAs. We're the yada, yada, yadas. You even look at GTA right now with all the role playing and online stuff, and how many freaking copies of GTA 5 have been sold because of online, non-single player online stuff. So, yeah, I don't think Twitch, very small part. The free-to-play world where people are like, you know what? Why am I going to spend $80 on a single-player game when I can watch my favorite streamer play it, or watch it on YouTube and watch a playthrough? I don't think those are even all that. You can make the argument that live streaming killed YouTube gaming in terms of like playthroughs, because that shit's dead. I mean, that shit is dead, gone. There's probably like 5 YouTubers out there that can still do playthroughs and generate more than 100,000 views of a video apart. There's maybe 5. That's it. And it's because their communities are so massive that they could take a dump and make a VOD of them doing that and it would get 1 million views. So, I think you can make that argument, but no. No.
Yeah, I would agree with you that I don't think it's actually doing anything to it. I mean, I shouldn't say anything. I just don't think that it's enough to push the needle.
Yeah.
One way or the other necessarily. I would be super interested in the future, and I'm sure it will happen if we could get like some research done on a questionnaire being sent out or whatever to as many Twitch viewers as possible, and be like, ask questions like, are you more or less likely to buy a single player game if you watch a streamer play it, and other questions around that to try and ascertain if it's increasing purchasing decisions, decreasing purchasing decisions. Neither, like you said, some people just want they've already played the game, or they had no intention of ever buying the game, and they're watching somebody else play it because they want to be part of the community experience and in experiencing the reactions that the streamer has, which is another group of people. There's just so many different types of viewers, and the odds of it. This is what I've always said. If live streaming a game hurts your sales, it's because you made a shit video game. Nobody is out there watching a really good video game on Twitch who hasn't played it and not at least thinking about, not at least think about buying the game.
Yeah.
And odds are they've already thought about buying the game. But there are people that will base purchasing decisions based on watching a streamer. That's very widely known. And at the end of the day, if you have a good video game, people are going to buy it. I think that if anything, devs would just be more scared of, in the past, they could get away with their game not being really, really polished. And now, if it's not really, really polished and it comes out and a bunch of streamers are streaming it and people are watching it, people are going to go, well, I don't want to buy this. Maybe broken. I'll buy it in the future if it's fixed, or I'll buy it on sale, or something like that. And I think ultimately that's a dev problem more than anything. I think if I was a betting man, I would put money on the fact that on average streams sell more games than they deter people from buying them.
Yeah,
on average.
I agree.
So yeah, I don't agree with it at all. And then as far as the single player experience games go, we're getting such great single player games still coming out. I think it's again people are just not making good single player games. It's just full stop. Don't say that the genre is dying just because you made a mediocre or a shit game. Like, don't look for like external sources to place blame. Like, oh god, if Twitch didn't exist, then Two Worlds 2 would have been such a better game, and we would have sold like 50 million copies, and it would have been amazing. But instead, Twitch played it, you know, and people watched it, and now they don't want to play it because they saw somebody else complete our masterpiece. No, bitch, you made a bad game. People aren't buying it. Tough shit. Yep. It's just the way it is. Like, God of War comes out and it just blows up. People buy it like crazy, and they're watching it on Twitch. Like, just yeah, and then there's a market though it's debatable how often it's successful. Like you said with Grand Theft Auto 5, where they had an online component and they really developed the hell out of that online component of the game, and it took a game that already sold a lot of copies and then just blew it up. And the amount of money that Grand Theft Auto 5 has generated Rockstar is just unfathomable. Just insane.
Somebody got
amounts of money.
Somebody got very, very rich.
Oh,
huge
money. Huge money. They didn't have to role play being rich. They just became rich.
It's super rich.
It's just how it went down. So yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it's hurting the games. I think devs making bad games is hurting the games more than anything. In a similar light, I guess in terms of these single player games and how companies are trying to monetize them and want to be able to continue to make them, because not all shareholders are likely super upbeat when they hear, oh, we're making a single player game. Like, oh, well, great, we're not going to make any money on that. Go make Fortnite 3 or whatever the fuck. Remedy, the makers of oh my god, Max Payne. The Max Payne series, and then of course the horror game that you played a couple years back as well that you really enjoyed with the flashlight.
Outlast?
No, not Outlast. No, Alan Wake.
Oh, Alan Wake, yeah.
Yeah. Same people for that as well. And then more recently with Quantum Break, which did not go over particularly well in general. They're at E3. They announced Control. We saw like a little trailer for their new game called Control. Looked very much Remedy, mostly because I saw a bunch of bullet time shit. It was like, this is just Max Payne.
Random bullet time.
It's Max Payne again. But they're saying that Control might be their first attempt at a games as a service, which we've talked about in the past here on the podcast, as far as single player games utilizing the games as a service model instead of just a multiplayer game utilizing it. And people are trying to figure out what exactly they mean, because they were a little bit, they're a little bit coy about the whole thing. But it sounds like they're doing, like, you'll have the full game, but then they're going to do like episodic stuff that branches out from the game. Like, it didn't necessarily sound like they're doing linear storytelling, but that the content that they provide will like branch out from different parts of the story, like almost like a choose your own adventure type weird shit. I couldn't, the way they described it was just so weird. But how do you feel about single player games adopting the games as a service thing? Meaning, like, maybe you don't even buy the game fully up front necessarily. Maybe you're just paying for episodic, here's 6 hours, here's another 6 hours, here's another 6 hours of single player story driven for that type of game. What are your thoughts on that?
No. Stop the madness. This isn't a fucking Telltale game, all right? Stop the madness, all right? I don't want to pay $10 now, and these motherfuckers know what they're doing too. So they'll end the episode on a cliffhanger, or they'll end it in a thing where you're like, dude, what the fuck? Like, oh my god. It'll end like an episode of Lost. You're just like, what the fuck? And then the next episode comes out, they'll have some trailer, and you got to figure it. You got to play it. No, it's stupid. It's stupid. Just make the game good, make a great trailer. Don't suck at E3, and you got my money. That's it. Stop. Like, the industry is just, it's so fickle right now. Like, everyone's trying to figure out ways to get a piece of the pie, and I respect that. It's business. But they're stretching so hard that it's just, you got to just say stop. Like, either adapt the free-to-play model and figure out how you can do it, or fuck off. One of the two. I don't really know, because I'm not going to be paying Listen, the only game I'll ever do that for, ever, is Final Fantasy VII. That's it, and it's because I'm so attached to Final Fantasy VII. And good news. Probably never going to happen. Final Fantasy VII Remake is probably never going to happen. So either way, I don't have to worry about that. But I already don't give a fuck about your convoluted storyline and you're branching off into different things and pay what parts you want to play. Stop the madness. Either take my $60 or $90 or $400, whatever the price of games are these days, or don't get anything. It's just stupid. It's another cheeky way of getting DLC. It's a way to hook people in, and they're going, oh, I'm getting a deal. You know, I'll pay $10, and if I don't like it, I don't like it. But you're gonna feel more inclined to spend more. It's just how it works. That's it. It just means they're not confident in selling a AAA title, and now they're trying to sneak their way in till eventually you have spent a AAA title worth. If it's money that they're worried about, put people on fucking payment plans then. Say, for 6 easy payments of $10.
Late night television selling video games.
That's basically what they're doing. And you know, when you sign up to a model like that, they're only going to give you so much content. Only so much of it is going to go into certain parts, and you're going to feel ripped off. And if you don't, you're a sucker. You're getting swindled.
Yeah, it's not my favorite thing. Like, on one hand, like you said, it's business. I appreciate that everyone's trying to get out there and make their money for their shareholders. I get that, and I appreciate, you know, the struggle that probably exists.
Yep.
Trying to bridge that gap. I can also appreciate that games are an expensive thing to make, and since single player experiences on average do not sell huge numbers of copies, that it could be a hard sell to investors or shareholders or stakeholders when you come out and say, hey guys, hear us out. Yep. We're going to make this single player game. And everyone's going, I don't know. Does it have multiplayer? It's just like, that's how it goes, right? So
it needs a co-op.
So I'm sure somebody out there, and Remedy is probably one of them, is trying to find a way. And maybe they shouldn't have used the term games as service, because games as service is just a rebranding of season passes, which is already an evil, dirty word. And so now we need a new word or phrase, and that has become games as a service. And they probably shouldn't have used that, because unless they actually do plan on being stupid and using that in its entirety as it's known today, they should have come up with a different word or a different phrase or worded it differently, because that's going to put off a lot of people. They hear that shit because they don't want to pay $39 every once a year across 3 years to experience the whole thing, even though it's even though it's ultimately in an attempt to make the developers enough money so that the shareholders or the publisher is happy, so that they can continue to make games that have these single-player story-driven experiences, instead of having the publisher say, yo dog, that's great, but Fortnite is the greatest game of all time, and we need a Fortnite. So it's Remedy. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt because it's Remedy, and I don't want to imagine that the people that brought us Max Payne and Alan Wake are out there to just strip me of all of my hard-earned dollars. But maybe we're gonna have to wait and see. And in terms of the market in general with games as a service, yeah, I agree. It's dirty. It's just another way to squeak as many extra dollars out of consumers without them realizing it's happening. It's kind of like when any kind of subscription service, or people just they don't even realize how much money they're spending because it's an installment based thing, and it sounds better. It's like when you go to the car dealership and they're like, "How about some bi-weekly payments?" And they sound so good because the dollar amount's lower, and you're like, "Wait, if I just multiply this number." But nobody does that really. They don't think about it, right? So
they don't think about it. It just sounds sexier.
It just sounds sexier. So yeah, I agree. It's not the best. Let's hope that Remedy doesn't, go down that road, and let's hope that Control is a good game. I could go for a good Remedy game, and they even talked about wanting to do another Alan Wake, which would be cool. But I imagine that one of the few things harder to pitch to a publisher right now than a single-player game is a single-player horror game that doesn't involve the words Resident Evil. So that's probably going to be something that will only happen if Control goes over really well. Maybe then they have grounds to stand on. But until then, all the best, I suppose. I'm pulling for you, Remedy. Just stay alive. There's not very many.
How cool would Alan Wake be, though, on in PlayStation VR? Like, with the flashlight and shit. How cool would that be?
It would be cool, but the only thing harder to sell than a single-player game is a single-player horror game, and the only thing harder to sell than a single-player horror game is a single-player horror VR game.
That is compatible with VR. Kind of like Resident Evil 7 did, right? You can play it either or.
It's still going to add development costs, but that's better than going. It is still it's a hard sell, especially when it's coming from Remedy. It's not like this is Biohazard or some shit. It can be like, hey guys, Resident Evil done. Take my money. Speaking of Resident Evil, great segue. I'm going to skip over one of our segments, go right here because it's just such a great segue provided to me. We talked about the fact they're doing the Resident Evil 2 remake last week, and how good it looked, and the fact that we're getting the Resident Evil 4 over-the-shoulder action camera view thing. People, of course, were sitting there going, man, and they're like me. I'm one of these people, not a lot of us, just like the Never Nudes from Arrested Development, there are dozens of us. Somebody out there was like, could we at least get a classic mode with static cameras? Because it feels weird to go back to Resident Evil 2 and play with Resident Evil 4 over the shoulder. I've always wanted this game remade graphically, but I still liked having that classic horror game isometric, view with the cameras. And unfortunately, the developer came out and said, yeah, we thought about it.
No,
that was it. They thought about it. They didn't take it further. They just thought about it.
Did Adam just have a stroke there, and I'm just kind of waiting to see the aftermath of it, or just
full stop? Just
okay. Yeah, we thought
about it. Not happening, and people were kind of sad about that. I'm personally a little sad about that. Would that be something that you wouldn't mind seeing in Resident Evil 2, like the remake, like having the cameras, like having a choice to go back to play it the old way?
Choices aren't a bad thing. I wouldn't complain about a choice. But I've already played Resident Evil 2. I've already played Resident Evil 2 HD remastered or whatever the hell they did. I've beaten that game so many times, and I think most people that are going to be playing Resident Evil 2, the new one, has also beaten the game more than once, multiple times.
Yeah.
And I think it's universally known that Resident Evil 4's camera is the best camera that Resident Evil has ever adapted in their games ever. So no, I don't care. And I don't, it's like if like StarCraft, old school StarCraft fans were like, hey, can we get, I don't know, can we get mutas to shoot more like they did in Brood War? I'm like animation wise or whatever, right? It's just these new ones doesn't really, it's like, hey, instead of the Stalker, can we get a Goliath? Or not Goliath?
Can we magic box the the mutas again? Can we
Exactly.
do that? Can we stack them up?
Exactly. So you see what I'm saying? Like, it's just people are just like, they're not complaining, but they're also just, they need to just stop. Like, the remake is happening. It looks cool. It's a complete remake. We're getting it in a new light because honestly, who wants to buy a third Resident Evil 2 for the same experience that we've been getting for years with a graphical update? At least now there's a whole new feel to the game, right? It's still the same game. I'm sure it's going to have the same cutscenes and the same everything, but just enjoy it. Enjoy it. Let go of this. Let go of these nostalgic things and let it be reimagined and just let it do its thing. If you want the old thing, then go play the old thing. We don't need the new old thing for the third time. So, listen, an option is great. If they were like, yeah, you can do it either way, I'd be like, that's fucking cool. I'd never play it the old way. Personally, there are probably some people that would, because there are some purists out there, especially gamers. Gamers are hardcore purists. They're like the worst. Worse than like movie purists. But come on. No, don't need it.
Okay. No, I agree. I would love to. I would personally, I would play it. I would play both. I'd end up playing both. Like, I would end up playing it because I would want to see what their take on Resident Evil 2, because you change the camera that dramatically and it wildly alters.
Oh, it changes different. Yeah,
it's a totally different game at that point, right?
Now, would you do 2 full playthroughs, or would you go, okay, I'm going to play like half in one camera angle and then half in the others? I'd probably test it out to see what thing I'd like, and then just go to the other one that I liked more.
That's I would agree with that. I'd probably end up, trying both, and then whatever I ended up liking, or depending,
you could do Jill. You could do like Jill on one, and then
because there's multiple
on the other one or whatever.
Yeah, because there's multiple playthroughs to be had there, and it's not like the game is like fucking epically long. I mean, the game is what, like
maybe 8 hours.
8 hours on a longer playthrough. So
yeah,
but I would definitely consider playing through both ways, both to experience the game from that old camera angle, but with the refreshed graphics, and then also to be able to experience it in the new realized view with that Resident Evil 4 kind of over the shoulder thing, because it would dramatically change, the look, feel, and how the game plays out. So definitely, but either way, I'm still down for Resident Evil 2. I'm sure you're going to be playing it, I would imagine, when it drops.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I'll probably also be getting on the train. It's been a hot minute since I played Resident Evil 2. I play Resident Evil Director's Cut a lot more than I go back to Resident Evil 2. Like, Director's Cut is my Resident Evil. So when I don't think I've ever gone back to play 2.
Oof, I've done it a few times. Yeah.
I've gone back to play
Director's
bits
Cut as well.
Yeah, I've gone back to play bits of 3.
Yeah.
But 2, for whatever, like, nobody, for some reason, after, I think 2, the only time I ever played 2 is when I rented it, and nobody actually owned it. So when going back to playing it, wasn't like nobody owned 2, but Cleveland owned 3, so we went back and played Nemesis.
I beat Resident Evil 2 on the N64. I beat it on PS1. I beat it on like computer for like the HD whatever they had. And then Director's Cut. I think I own every Resident Evil up there. In fact, I think the only Resident Evil I didn't play is Code Veronica, which I have up there.
Well, if you were going to select one Resident Evil to not play, Code Veronica
probably that one.
Would be on the short list.
I think that's
Resident
legit
Evil not to play.
The only one I have never played.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. That's the one on the train, isn't it? Code Veronica? Yeah.
No. Wait, is Code Veronica that?
I thought Code Veronica was the one on the train.
It might be. Okay, I did beat one that was on a train though. Maybe somebody in chat can tell us.
Yeah, I might be getting them mixed up in my head, but I thought that Code Veronica was the one on the train.
If that's the case, then I did play it and rip the dream.
Either way, Resident Evil 2. I think that was, if I remember correctly, that's in early 2019, like a January or something. So
Sweet.
uh
Don't have
it's
to
a
wait too long.
it's a distance, but it's not that far away. I bet you January is going to be coming as depressingly fast as most of us don't want it to come.
Yep. First day of summer today, actually.
Yes, the solstice, and in style, it was quite warm today.
Yeah, it was nice out.
Warm enough that when I walked into that subway this evening, where the air conditioner is still broken, I instantly started sweating. I opened the door and it was hotter inside than out dramatically. And there was two people were working. A bigger black lady who looked like she was standing in the North Pole, like it wasn't affecting her whatsoever. And a slender white man who was losing more weight by the minute, just standing in the shop. So I said to him, "Hey, you hanging, bro?" He's like, "It's a little warm." I said, "It's a little warm in here, isn't it?" He goes, "Warm? Are you crazy? It's fucking cold in here, bro. What are you talking about? It's just freezing. You're crazy if you think it's warm in here. Who would think that?" And nobody was in the shop. Like nobody. You can't even sit down to eat in the shop. So crazy hot. Speaking about crazy hot, Fortnite is definitely on that list of crazy hot right now, and Sony's PlayStation 4 not too far behind. In fact, PlayStation 4 outsold even the Switch in May, and by no small margin either. So the PlayStation 4 is still doing gangbusters. However, it is under a little bit of scrutiny from some people because of its Epic account Fortnite crossplay debacle that's currently happening. I don't know if you spotted some of this that's been going on, but the general idea, if you haven't heard about this, folks, is that when it comes to Fortnite and many other games, Microsoft and even Nintendo and the PC market, everyone's trying to get it so that crossplay is a thing slowly over time. And Rocket League is probably one of the best examples of developer who's managed to make that happen more than most. But when it comes to Fortnite, which is a big moneymaker, even as a free game, big moneymaker, Sony is putting their foot down and saying that if you have an Epic account through your PlayStation 4, you are, if you link it there, you are unable to access that Epic account to play Fortnite on any other platform. PC, Switch, Xbox, it doesn't matter. And there's a whole host of people that got very excited when Fortnite was announced for the Switch because now they could play it at home. Maybe they had a lot of people have like a PlayStation 4 and a Switch. They're playing it on a PlayStation when they're at home. And then when they're on the road, play some Fortnite on the Switch. Can't happen. Can't do it. And on top of that, there was a big thing kicked up about it because in order to reverse that lockout, it was like there's a fucking headache to try and get your account unlocked after having it on the PlayStation. And Sony keeps putting their foot down. They say, "Look, guys, tough shit. You know, the Sony environment is going to remain the Sony environment, and we're not going to be doing this crossplay stuff," which is a bit odd because, again, Rocket League is crossplay with the PC and PlayStation 4. But people, one of the old employees at Sony Online Entertainment said that when he was still there and working, and he was one of the higher ups, he said the reasoning back then for it was literally as simple as you would think, and it was money.
Yep,
that's just plain and simple.
They're not going to sell as many. They're not going to sell as many consoles.
Well, it's not about the consoles; it's about the microtransactions in Fortnite. If they have crossplay enabled, and somebody has,
that's true too,
has it on the PC or they have it on the Xbox. Let's say on the Xbox, more specifically, or the Switch, and they buy a microtransaction there.
Yep.
Microsoft or Nintendo gets that 30-cent, 40-cent cut. Sony doesn't. And then when they go play it on the PlayStation, they still have that item there. They don't have to buy it on the PlayStation.
Yeah, and also even going out and buying PlayStation Network cards or whatever, right? If you go to the store and you spend $50 on a card and you're only using 40 of it on Fortnite, you have an extra $10 laying around. You're eventually going to spend it or not spend it. That's gone into Sony's pocket. So
yeah, exactly,
definitely.
So that's I guess as simple as it gets, and it is unfortunate because I think with the proliferation of free to play games, being accessible on many different platforms. The expectation is that they're going to be able to just pick up and continue regardless of what they own because they have the game and it's a free-to-play game. They're not buying it on any console. And so the expectation being there, people are a little upset because Sony's the only one not playing nice. And it doesn't seem like they give a shit. And in fairness to Sony,
but the big dogs.
it doesn't matter right now. They're at the head of the table.
Dogs. Yeah, who gives a fuck?
They can do whatever the fuck they want.
It's business, man. Like, boo-hoo to the consumer. I mean, what, like, you don't like it? Listen, Fortnite's free to play, so you can just make another. You can go make another account on your Nintendo Switch or whatever. Sure, you're not going to have your skins.
Well, I think
who cares?
Yeah, well, I think the thing. Well, for people that have a lot of stuff unlocked on their Epic account. Like I think
it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything.
No, I know. I appreciate that, but the problem was that once it was done, like say they had a PC account with it and they played it, it locks them from getting back in on the PC. And so I don't think they would care if all they had to do was make a new account and play on PlayStation. Yeah. Now they have a secondary account there.
I can see that. Yeah.
It's the fact they can't reverse it. They want their main account to be on the PC, but they can't. And that was where a lot of people were like, "Bruh, you gotta fucking slow your roll there." And they are doing it, and they are rolling it back and doing it through Steam. There's a couple of hoops you have to go through, and it's a bit of a messy process, but they're sorting through it slowly. But definitely a bit of a mess on their hands. Another mess on somebody's hands. GameStop CEO has got a massive mess on their hands because, depending on how you look at it, I suppose, they are officially in talks for a buyout. It's happening.
Wow.
They're getting close to selling the company off. People had heard rumors that it was possibly happening recently, but they weren't confirming anything. And then now we've finally got to a spot where they came out and said, yes, we are playing the field. We are fielding offers for the company. And it's no surprise. And this was kind of shocking to me. I think a lot of people probably knew that GameStop was not doing particularly hot after the onset of Steam and online games on or downloading games online through the consoles and stuff like that. They're
the blockbuster. They're the new blockbuster.
Exactly.
It's only a matter of time.
Exactly. So and then the used game market doesn't even do all that hot anymore. And that's not just because they only give you 4 cents for a $50 game. It's also just because these console developers are like Microsoft are starting to do this backwards compatible stuff again, and that hurts. The small little chunk that they were pulling out is getting hurt even further. And so what that's resulted in is in the last year, just the last year, their stock has gone down 30% in 1 year.
Yikes. Ouch.
And their market cap is down from $9.4 billion to $1.4 billion since 2007. So in 11 years, they've gone from 9.4 billion to 1.4 billion in market cap.
Ouch.
So that gives you a bit of an idea as to just like how much of a mess. Can you imagine trying to be the CEO of that company right now and sorting that mess out? Be an absolute freaking nightmare. So they are in fact fielding offers. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that GameStop's just going to poof and disappear.
No.
It just means that they want it to be somebody else's problem.
Yeah, they don't want to deal with it anymore.
They don't want to deal with it anymore. So, and they want to, and the people who are currently at the head want to get their money and get out while they can still make money.
Yep. And
so that's what's happening. And I'm sure we'll hear more developments from that when somebody inevitably buys them out. Other than that, that is pretty much it from the gaming side of things. Neither of us have a heck of a lot to talk about for the game stuff because both of us have pretty much been playing Realm Royale. My office is still not completed, so I haven't played any single player games in a while.
Yeah. Well, we can tell everybody that we're gonna have a series coming out soon.
Oh, do you want to make that happen now?
Sure.
I will hand it off to you. I'm gonna have a sip of this juice. You go for it.
All right.
Put on your sales cap.
Well,
Okay.
I'm not gonna sell anything yet because we haven't even got the first
Okay.
episode done. But
All right. Okay.
we're gonna have a new series, a new commentating series. We're bringing back LAGTV for one last hoorah. We're gonna see where it goes.
I don't even want to call it one last because it's just whenever opportunity strikes, we come back for the one last hoorah. This is like our fourth last hoorah.
All right.
We're like the Brett Favre. We're like the Brett fucking Favre of the YouTube world right now.
This is the next hoorah. That could potentially be big. I mean, it's obviously gonna be with Realm Royale. It's not a sponsored thing. We're not getting paid by High Res or anything like that. I did apply for their partnership program, and I'm sure we'll reach out to them when we get the series going and stuff. But basically, our thought process of this was we both enjoy the game. I love the game, and Adam's been playing a lot more of it too. So I think he's liking the game a lot.
I don't like it as much as you, but I don't like a lot of things as much as you. You are dedicated as fuck as soon as you grab onto something. So
yes, yeah. So yeah, we're gonna be coming out with that. Do we want to give details about what this is, or does it matter?
I don't think it really matters. There's about 2,000 people going to hear this.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Anyway,
we can just talk in generalities right now, and it won't make a difference.
All right. So the name of the series is going to be what is it? What is the name of the series? So I don't fuck it up.
What did we decide on again? One sec. We decided on Realm Royale
replay. There it is.
Realm Royale replay. That's what we decided on.
It's so new. It's so new.
It's well thought out. We really put a lot of thought into this. I swear.
It's well thought out. So Realm Royale replay. It's not going to be your traditional LAGTV in the sense that we're going to be casting replays. Because there is no replay system in Realm yet. When a replay system does come, and if the game is going well and the series is going well, we want to continue to make another sort of series outside of the Realm Royale replay, triple R, whatever we're gonna do with that.
R cubed.
R cubed. Then we'll do that. Well, then we'll cross that bridge. But right now the game is still so early in alpha. But basically, if I want to give you a synopsis of what it's about, is think Tosh.0 and America's Funniest Home Videos combined with LAGTV, and it is heavily edited. So there's me and Adam, sort of the voice stars, but then there's Mark, who is going to be the star of what you see on the screen, because what he does is he is going to be he's basically a character, because a lot of the humor is through that, is through what you're seeing via the editing. And I'm telling you, this is not like some shitty like cuts.
Did you see right before we went live for this? Did you see what he sent you?
Yeah, with the chickens.
Yes.
Yeah, it's perfect. But essentially it is going to be, it's been done before, but not like this, right? There are plenty. We're gonna be getting games, or not games, but we're gonna be getting clips from you guys. There's I guess there's sort of segments within it too, because then there's like a rec thing in there.
I want to reiterate that this is a very well thought out process, and we've definitely got it down to a science.
Yeah.
110%.
But essentially this. Think Tosh.0 and America's Funniest Home Videos.
Borderlands.
Borderlands, a little bit of Star Wars. But that's pretty much it. So you're gonna get clips. You're gonna get tons of clips from many places. We're gonna be getting people to send in. We're gonna have a new specific email of clips. In fact, if you guys want to start sending them now, you can. Just to have them if you guys want. What's the email?
It's very difficult to remember. It's realmroyalereplay@gmail.com.
There it is. So if you guys want, the people that's listening to the podcast right now on iTunes, on YouTube, here, all you need to do is get funny clips, amazing clips of incredible performances.
It could be funny. It could be amazing,
stupid, amazing, retarded, crazy, whatever. Send it in, and there'll be different sort of sections of this. There'll be sort of a fails compilation. There'll be an amazing gameplay compilation, and all you need to do is take a Twitch clip if you want and send that Twitch clip. So it can be Ninja Clip, it can be me, it could be Adam, it could be Summit, it could be some rando that we've never heard of, it could be you, it could be anything. It doesn't need to be from a stream. You can have raw file if you want, if it can fit in an email. It can be from Mixer, it can be from YouTube, it can be from Twitch, it can be from Facebook gaming, YouTube gaming. It doesn't matter. As long as it's Realm Royale and it's an amazing clip, funny, hilarious, stupid, whatever, send it, and we'll do our magic on the back end.
And just like if you are going to send something in because you're hearing this right now, do make an attempt to at least give a small synopsis in the email, just a real quick of like what is happening in the video. It just helps us. It helps us so that if we have to go back and find it, we have something to go on instead of having to rewatch all these clips like 15 times. We're going to go if we have to like sort through a bunch of them. So yeah, it's always nice to have. But yes, that is it's going to be something. And the reason why we sound so disjointed about it is we came up with this about 3 days ago.
Yeah, about that 3 or 4 days.
3 or 4 days ago, and I
got on call with Adam, and I was like, Adam, bro, come on, bro, right?
We got to do some
I was like,
Realm shit.
I was like, listen, Realm Royale is new. I saw this with Fortnite, and I did not jump on the bandwagon on Fortnite. And thank God I didn't, because I don't really like Fortnite all that much. It's a fun game. I could definitely play it, especially if the money was right. I could definitely play it. But I'm not in love with it. I fell in love with Realm, and that was when I was like, I have to get Adam on board, because I know, like, I was going to just do some videos or whatever, but I was like, listen, there's nothing better than the two of us and our banter. And I know that, with Adam's dry humor and my over-the-top shit on top of these clips, it's just think of it as, and plus that's what's in, right? Like YouTube, the videos will only be maybe 5 minutes long. It's going to be short and to the point. They're going to be funny. Think of it as like, When Cheese Fails, but condensed, like more focused, a little bit more scripted. I'm sure we'll figure it a way to I already bounced some things off with Adam, and I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to create some false expectations.
We don't even know what the final product is ultimately going to look like yet. We have a really good idea, but there are still things that will be hashed out probably when we start doing work on the pilot for this whole thing. But all you need to know, without getting complicated, is if Tom Bergeron from America's Funniest Home Videos actually had a sense of humor, and you mashed that with Borderlands, and they had a baby, and it was like a top 5, top 10 list YouTube style with heavy kind of editing and just stupid, dry, nonsensical bullshit quippiness. That's what this series is going to be. And thankfully the tone of the game really allows for this, and it plays into it. And
because you couldn't do it for PUBG, like it just wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work.
But with the arcadey style of this game, it can. And this is just what's in. People want these quick, instant gratification type things, and this type of content is very shareable. Like there might be one clip within here or one thing that Adam and I say that is just drop dead hilarious, and they have to show their friend that, right? Or if Summit is in a clip, next thing you know it, you've got Summit fans going, dude, Summit, you need to check out this clip. You're in LAGTV's video or whatever. So word gets around a lot better when you're taking a lot more from the community, so to speak. And of course, we've got a really cool creative way to give every single clip in there the proper dues. So like there'll be proper shout outs and links to get to every single content creator in there. And also the people that are clipping the stuff, you also get shine as well. So it's not just the streamer or the person playing, but also the people that are getting the really cool clips. And depending on how big the series can get, we'll try and figure out some cool ways to reward people for clipping some amazing things or whatever the case may be. But we're working on it. Would love to have something out within the next week. Adam and I just got to get together and like creatively figure something out. But we'll throw it out there and then we'll get your guys' feedback, right? We might the series might change up a tiny bit over the first few episodes, depending on what people like or maybe don't like or would like to see changed. But we've got a kind of an idea on what it is, and we don't want to produce it too much because ultimately Adam and I just want to get together and make each other laugh. And if we can do that, then we know that you guys are going to enjoy it because that's all we've done with StarCraft for many, many years. None of it was scripted. In the beginning, season 1, you know, some of it was not scripted, but thought out. There was camera movements and
premeditation to how the camera and stuff was going to be.
Yeah, but none of it was ever like, okay, we're going to talk about this or we're going to tell this story or whatever. It was just us shooting the shit. And this will be definitely more produced on the editing side, but I still want to make Adam laugh without knowing what's going on, and I want him to make me laugh without me knowing what the fuck is going on, because when we laugh, you're going to laugh, right? So that's what it's all about. But expect some really goofy, dumb shit. And also think of Dear LAGTV. If you guys liked Dear LAGTV, that series we did, it's going to feel very similar to that.
Yeah, we're borrowing some of that dry, stupid, like that's why I was saying the nonsensical kind of quippy shit. Like that's the Dear LAGTV part of it, because Dear LAGTV went over well, and it went over well because it was just us answering usually stupid questions or just questions and answered them stupidly. Like that was basically what we did, and it was it went over well. So it'll be fun. This is a YouTube thing. This is not a Patreon thing. This is not a technical alpha thing necessarily. It's just a LAGTV thing, and we're looking forward to doing it. We're not slaving away our lives or Mark's. It'll be like a once a week kind of deal to do something and to have some fun with it and still be able to do some creative things within LAGTV. As far as why we didn't call it,
I mean, well, if it blows up, it turns into like a when cheese fails, then everything changes, right? But as of right now,
I still don't think it's going to be more than once a week, even if it blows up. You can only put something like this out so much. People burn out on it in like 2 fucking seconds.
Maybe I disagree with that.
Maybe bi-weekly.
There are literally channels that are gonna do what we do, but not as good, and they're
I suppose
very, very
people
consistent.
just want to sit down and watch shit until their eyes bleed.
Exactly, they just want to watch fucking clips. They just want to watch funny dumb shit.
And the reason why we're not like generalizing the name into like Royale replays, and one of the things I thought about was Replay Royale, but unfortunately that was used by Epic for a promotional thing that they did already, and so that was already chewed up, because somebody already said, why don't you do something like that, because then I think it was Mr. Miyagi, so that you could do like other Royales, and the truth is that I'm kind of happy we didn't end up being able to use Replay Royale, because if there's one thing that I've learned in this industry is that the more generalized you try and be, the shittier things get in terms of the viewership just isn't there. People want hyper specific content. Stupidly specific.
We're going at Realm, and we're targeting Realm, and we're going to be all about Realm.
Think about what happened when we tried to do a single Let's Play on the LAGTV channel on a StarCraft predominant feed like years ago, and then imagine that, and now the internet has gotten worse about it. So it's a whole different beast we need to be specific about it. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're excited about it. Hopefully you guys are too. And again, if you want to, it's
Realm Replay.
Excuse me. Realm Royale
Replay.
Realm Royale Replay at gmail.com.
So go send your clips. Like if you already know of funny clips, if you're watching Realm streams and you know something funny happens, clip it and send it. You never know what's going to happen, and it doesn't even need to be gameplay. Like there was like some clips of a pet doing something with some chick while she was playing Realm. And that was a clip I thought that was funny. So it could be what's happening in the background while Realm is playing. Doesn't necessarily have to be, as long as Realm is there and it's the backdrop.
Realm
it's the game
is
playing,
the centerpiece.
That's it. Yes.
Of
anything else?
Of the whole
no,
thing.
we don't want anything else. It's gotta be Realm.
Yeah. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Realm Royale Replay, another LAGTV special coming your way. Hopefully within the next week we'll have the pilot episode out for you so that you'll be able to see where we are with it. And like Jeff said, it will probably take a few episodes to kind of find our stride, find the right magic sauce, the right formula.
But we'll need everybody's help on the first episode. Y'all need to share it. You need to spam it out there. It needs to get out there. You know, because the more people that know about it and watch it, the better clips and replays and shit we'll get, the better the content will be. Because I think, well, for the first episode, Adam and I are just going to get together. We're going to go and do our own hunt and put something together because we want the episode to be like really, really good.
If we get some in the email, that's great. It allows us
you guys,
to even look at that.
Yeah. Hell yeah. If you guys want to send them. Go ahead. But the more the merrier. The more the merrier.
That's it. There you go. Mr. Black, hit me up with the sound of movies and TV.
Movies, TV.
Remember when we both watched the show Ozark with Jason Bateman, and we were like, yeah, that's a pretty dope show.
Yeah.
Season 2 coming August 31st. Let's go.
Nice.
They've got a little teaser trailer that showed pretty much almost nothing. But it was like a trailer specifically to show the release date. So
Sweet.
It is what it is. I'm pretty jazzed about it. It was not a show that I thought was going to be
I like Jason Bateman.
all that great. Or I shouldn't say that. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did. It's probably a better way of putting that. And it turned out to be pretty good. And I'm down for season 2. It's kind of like Breaking Bad, but everyone's in on the secret instead of only Walter.
That's right.
That's kind of what this show is. Yeah. And so yeah, it's good stuff. Outside of that, I have something I saw, was it yesterday, day before? Anyway, apparently the whole A Star Wars story thing, you know, the Han Solo film, the Rogue One deal, those are apparently being put on hiatus. And they're putting all efforts on the current and future trilogies in the main line. And I suspect it has something to do with the fact that the Han Solo film did dick and was such a gong show to actually shoot. And it was such just a hot mess across the board that they decided to pull back the reins on it a bit and just focus on trying to make good trilogy movies instead. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Star Wars before, so I won't talk too much about it. But I mean, it was a gong show. Last Jedi, although it made a shit ton of money, it was pretty much split down the middle. The critics really liked it because they're artsy fartsy and they just like disruption. But the vast majority of people, it was, you know, a lot of hate. There's a lot of hate, and then there's people that were like, oh, okay, it wasn't as bad as you guys said it is. And then Han Solo came out, and nobody asked for a Solo movie. Nobody wanted it. Nobody asked for it. It's an uphill climb. There's just, you're never going to meet those expectations ever under any circumstance. And I'll be honest, I liked the Solo movie. I liked it more than The Last Jedi. I actually thought it was a good movie. I thought it was a well-filmed movie. I thought it was a beautiful-looking movie. It answered some questions that I didn't even know I wanted answers for. Sure, it wasn't perfect. Yeah, there was some dumb shit in there. Yeah, some of the writing was bad, and some of the things that they did in there I didn't fully agree with. But I could say that about most movies. It's just the simple fact that Last Jedi was so hated by so many people. There was so much negativity out there And then they put out a movie that nobody asked for, like 5 months after the shitstorm. So, and then, all the other social media bullshit and all this other garbage that's going on. If it was an Obi-Wan movie, something that the people have actually been asking for, been begging for it before Rogue One, been begging for it before Han Solo, been begging for it before they said they were doing a Boba Fett movie and some spin-offs on Netflix or whatever. Before all that, we would have been fine. Like an Obi-Wan movie, if that came out when Han did, it would have made more money than Han, without a doubt. 100% would have made more money. Would it have been a better film? I have no idea. Maybe, maybe not, but it would have made more money. And plus, Star Wars made the Solo movie made a shit ton of money. In terms of like movies, it made a fuck ton of money, but they didn't make a fuck ton of money for Star Wars movie. Like it was an absolute fail for a Star Wars movie.
Which is really ultimately the metric it's going to be judged by internally. Yeah, well, and
it's going to lose money because of the reshoots, right?
Yeah.
Supposed to lose up to $50 million. Well, who knows? I mean, by the time they sell their Blu-rays and all that, it might be a break-even venture, right?
A wash.
It might be a wash. But overall, it's a failure for a Star Wars movie. If any other movie that's not Marvel, and even a lot of Marvel movies, I mean, if Deadpool did better than Han, but I mean, even if Deadpool came out and did those type of numbers, or Ant-Man did those type of numbers, they'd be like celebrated, right? Be like, holy shit, you made, just about, I think it was like 102 million in 4-day weekend or something, first weekend. People be like, damn, that's a lot of money. Like, good on you. But it's a Star Wars movie. Jesus, we're talking the holy grail of franchises here. And you're also doing it on Solo, one of the most iconic characters in movie history. You fucked up. You fucked up real bad. And so that's why they're pumping the brakes. I don't think personally they should pump the brakes. I think that they should.
If anything, they need to just, in my opinion too, they need to just keep, like, they almost have to pretend that all this crazy shit that's been happening hasn't. Until they hit success, and then people will forget slowly.
Exactly.
But doing this, people are going to go, oh, well.
If they come out with an Obi-Wan movie, right, and they get Ian on the movie, which would be pretty much, it's inevitable. Like, he's been begging to do this movie for the longest time.
Everyone wants this movie to happen.
Everyone, like everybody is begging.
Except for Kathleen Kennedy.
Except for Kathleen Kennedy, which is going to be fired very soon, if not already, and will be replaced. But the thing is if they just ignored what's going on, stuck to their guns, made an amazing Obi-Wan movie, came out with that shit and crushed it, and then had an episode 9 that J.J. Abrams is coming in and just makes a better version than The Last Jedi and cleans up some of the bullshit that Rian Johnson did, then all is forgiven in the world of Star Wars. I'm telling you, people have short-term memories. People want to love a Star Wars movie. It just so happens after Jedi and not wanting Han Solo, people wanted to hate Solo. So people were just like, fuck Solo. They didn't even go and see the movie, and they're boycotting the movie. There's so much negativity, and they're basically like, we didn't ask for this. Stop the madness and just make what the fans want. Listen to what the fans want. Stop. What are you doing? Why is there female leads in everything? Why are you pushing these weird agendas? Why is it that fucking what's his face there? Childish Gambino's character, fucking Lando. Why is Lando fucking his bot friend, right? Why are you doing these things, right? Like, why, like, in the Solo movie, they're like, even the elite, the L33, whatever that
shit already had me, dude, like, no.
Dude, that robot talks about fucking Lando, literally. The robot is all about.
Whoa, back this robotic ass fucking fun
it's
bus
called
up.
Like pansexual or whatever the fuck.
Well, pansexual, but that doesn't mean you go fuck. Like, no pansexual on Earth right now is buying a real sex doll so that they can experience their pansexuality.
I am not shitting you. That leet bot legitimately says in the movie that they basically fucked. That they had a sexual relationship with each other. Legit says that in the movie. I'm not even joking. That's an actual thing. And the entire time that robot, the entire movie is all about equality of robots. So they're shoving this social, like, it's basically like a Me Too movement, but with robots. And it is fuck every one-liner, punch, comedy thing, you name it. And it comes out of its mouth. It's either I'm fucking Lando or robots are unite. And that's why people are just like, this is fucking terrible. We didn't ask for this. Stop your shit, Kathleen Kennedy. Stop it. Just stop it. Okay? That's it. That's why people were mad. Very mad. But it's still a decent movie. So anyway, Star Wars, do your thing. Just give me a good trilogy. You know, I actually don't care about spin-off movies. I actually don't care. Obi-Wan is the only one that I want to see. And then that's it. I just want good trilogy movies. And I want to get the fuck away from the Skywalker timeline. I just want them to expand and I want to see new things and new stories. Please. That's it. That's all I'm asking for.
Look,
but I'll go and watch whatever they put out because
there is something to be said about not bending, you know, to the wants of the you know, of the masses when it comes to being a producer of media. There's something to be said about that because of like artistic expression and everything else. You do what you want to do, and then if people like it, they do. If they don't, they don't. But when you're Disney and you buy Star Wars, and then you say to yourselves, now we need to make all this money back. And you go so far as to put it in the hands of JJ, who essentially recreated the first film. For the first film of the current trilogy, you've thrown all of that shit out the window. And at that point, you might just as well. You've already proven to me now that you want to just pander to the fans. You might as well listen to them when they tell you what kind of spin-offs and shit they want. They obviously aren't going to have that much weight on the main trilogy. But if you're going to do spin-offs in between to bridge the gaps, you might as well listen to the fan base that are the ones going to be making these non-trilogy movies money. You might as well listen to them when they say, Han Solo movie doesn't need to happen. We would love to have an Obi-Wan movie. And you should definitely bring Ewan back to be part of this film, because he wants to be part of this film.
And he was the only good part of the prequels.
And when you have that put in front of you, you don't ignore it and say, you know what, let's do what nobody wants, so that the expectation has to be like because what you said is very true. Nobody really wanted a Han Solo movie. I'm sure there were people out there that were interested, but nobody, when I say nobody, I mean the majority of people were not looking for a Han Solo movie.
Vast majority.
Right.
Vast.
So when you do that, what you've already created is you've already created a massive hurdle to get people into the theater to watch it in the first place. And then, even if you've crossed that hurdle and you've managed to bait these people who've decided they don't want to watch the movie, but hey, you got them with the trailer, you had a couple of good one-liners, and Han Solo's in their head. Got to go see Han Solo. They get into the theaters. Your bigger hurdle is they already, like you said, they want to hate the movie because it's not what they wanted, and you didn't give them what they wanted. So now that you've provided this, it's like a kid. They want to hate this thing. You get into the theater, and then you provide them with dog shit, which is this movie that was cobbled together because of director differences with Kathleen. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, Kennedy. And the menagerie of fuckery that went down to piece this together, and despite, you know, it was probably, like you said, it's probably a good looking movie, and you know, it wasn't like it was the disaster film or some shit, but it was not a great Star Wars movie that people wanted to see. That's People want fucking Star Wars. They don't want to be reminded of Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram social media wars about social justice fuckery and PETA and robot fucking and all whatever other weird categorization of current events. Star Wars is not a socio-political platform to fucking toss that shit around. Star Wars is almost by nature and the most pure escapism film that exists in the fucking industry. Because Star Trek is the sci-fi film that tackles social shit. That's what they've always done. Star Wars is some fucking moisture farmer riding around in a Gillette razor cartridge holder in the middle of buttfuck nowhere talking to an old man who hated the role but got paid well enough to do it, saving the goddamn galaxy. That's Star Wars. It's not let's go to a casino world and spend $50 billion on the production budget for a slapstick 45-second fucking camera B-roll whatever, and then go talk about freeing the horses. Fuck yourself. That's not what you do in a Star Wars film. You get some good lightsaber shit going. You get some like mild political shit that a 5-year-old can understand because that's who's going to see these films, and you call it a day. That's how complicated is that shit. And you still fuck that shit up.
Fucked it real good. Fucked it real good. Barely any lightsaber battles. There's no fucking lightsabers in the spin-offs. It's like, dude, we don't give a fuck about 98% of what you're doing. Can we just get some weird looking aliens? Can we get some old school, physical, practical aliens in the movies? Can we get some cool lightsaber battles with amazing score in the background? Can we have good versus evil? Can we have a story of triumph and character development and exploration and discovery of yourself and what you believe in and the adventure of it? But no, we want to talk about Me Too movements and bots fucking and all this other shit. And that's just what Kathleen Kennedy has done. It is literally and listen, it has nothing to do with her being a woman. I'm not hating on her because she's a woman. When she first came in, it was great. It was wonderful. And then all of a sudden, you get a little bit of power and some full-blown control and an agenda. And now it's gone too far. Nobody cares. Nobody fucking cares.
You chose,
just make good movies.
If you wanted to do that, you chose the wrong franchise to make that your vehicle for social justice. People don't want that shit in Star Wars. And
we go there to forget that shit.
The only reason that you're still and the problem with this is that there's a false sense of security for them because these movies will still make billions of dollars because it's Star Wars.
If they keep this up, who knows, right?
But that's the problem, right? But for now, it's a false sense of security. They go home at the end of the day. They say, you know what, guys? We pulled that Han Solo film out of Satan's ass crack. It was just about to be a complete disaster that lost all of our money and fuck that director for doing whatever and da 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 da. But look at how much money it made. All these people out here whining about our choices in the first two movies in the trilogy. Fuck them. We made $1 billion a pop more. Just who cares? We're doing it right because the money's still coming in. And they're talking about a trilogy after this trilogy. If they were to keep this going, it's not gonna continue that way. People aren't gonna give you this endless leash to keep going and going and going and going. Eventually that leash is gonna come to an end, and somebody on the end of that leash is gonna have their neck tightened up real quick, and they're gonna come back choking.
Isn't it funny? Because you look at something like Marvel, and nobody has got Marvel fatigue. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. Some people are like, action movie, superhero movies, fatigue. They're just like, oh, it's all the same. Those are a small group. But I'm talking the diehards, the Marvel diehards that'll go and see Thor, that'll go and see, Iron Man and Avengers and Ant-Man and Deadpool and, the Black Panther and you just name it. I mean, they're coming out like 4 of them a year. And they're making more and more money. They're doing extremely well. And it's because the Marvel listens to what the fans want. They don't go out of sort of their lane. We even get R-rated hardcore movies. I mean, people have been asking for a rated R Wolverine movie for the longest time. Logan, some of the best Marvel shit you'll ever watch in your life. It is a mature, hardcore, like just it's everything that an adult that grew up from a childhood all the way up as you've matured and became an adult, visualize an old, pissed off, tired, angry Wolverine. And Marvel did that for us. Deadpool. We needed an R-rated Deadpool. There's no way you could do a PG-13 Deadpool. They do an R-rated Deadpool. It fucking works. You come out with the Avengers. It just works. And you know what? All these things, even something like Guardians of the Galaxy, that the vast majority of people, the public, had no fucking clue about what Guardians was. They had no idea what the fuck a Star-Lord was, what a Wreck-It Ralph was, what a Gamora was, what a Drax was, nothing. What a Groot. That was it. It was a tree that said, I'm Groot. That was it. Nobody knew. But Marvel did what Marvel does. And they just created a fun movie-going experience that was, you get lost in it, and there's no hidden agenda. There's no pushing of a female agenda. There's no underlining political agenda. There's no weird
closest
justice warrior shit. I haven't seen any of it.
The closest thing that they get is that Drax and Mantis are on the spectrum. That is but it's not even said outright. It's not even pointed at directly, but that would be the closest thing out of everything. Nothing else is really touched on. It's good escapism, fun movies. Yeah. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Anyway, it is what it is. Star Wars.
Also, shout out to apparently Wreck-It Ralph being part of the crew. Instead of Rocket, you said Wreck-It Ralph. Nobody had any idea who Wreck-It Ralph was. Fucking like you're listed off all the days. Wreck-It Ralph. I was like, oh shit.
Rocket. Sorry.
Rocket.
What did I say? Wreck-It Ralph.
I mean, I'd watch that movie.
I'd watch that too.
Get Wreck-It Ralph in on the Guardians cast. I'm sure that would go over well.
It'd probably work too. I don't know. It probably would.
Anyway, they'd make it.
What else
work.
we got? That's
it. What other movie, TV stuff you got? Anything?
Nothing. I'm going to see Jurassic Park tomorrow night, and I'll be able to tell you on that. I talked about Hereditary there last week, and that's pretty much it for movies. Let's go on technical support.
Yep. Gotcha. Here we go. Refreshing the page.
It's been slow the last couple of weeks in the movie world.
It's just that time of year in general. Everything is kind of slow. It's the summertime, you know? People are out doing their thing. Let's see what we got here. Oh, look at that topical. This comes in from Chico. And you know this guy because he's been around at the $100 pledge for God knows how long, and other sections of the upper end of the scale. He's $1,350 lifetime.
Damn. God damn.
Chico says, I'm seeing the new Jurassic World movie tonight. So my question is this. If you could make a theme park with an infinite budget, what would it be?
A theme park with an infinite budget. Oh man.
I mean, if we're talking about something like with the dinosaurs and stuff, so that we can go outside of the realm of what would be considered a possibility, as you know, with what we have in front of us technology-wise, I'm going with I want a theme park based around Star Trek holodeck technology, where you can go anywhere and be anyone and do anything based on what you plug into the holodeck. You can play out books, you can play out movies and be a character in it, you can be a fly on the wall, you can do whatever, but a theme park based around the Star Trek holodeck, infinite budget and technology aside.
I would probably do one all about space. So being able, like something that's super interactive.
Space Force.
Yeah. You'll be able to like go into a like a big room and physically see planets and solar systems, and you could
So like an
learn
augmented reality version of a planetarium.
Yes, exactly. And I'm sure that there are like museums about space all around the world.
They're called planetariums.
But I'm talking about something that is like really interactive, like very like 4 or 5D type shit, like
well, that's a lot of D's, Jeff.
a lot of D's all over the place. I think that'd be dope, and the entire experience is narrated by Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
That's the dream.
Okay. Can we get at least a little bit of Morgan Freeman?
No,
Like
it's all Neil deGrasse.
All right,
he has no place in science.
Okay.
Neil deGrasse. So the only voice I need to hear.
That's fair. What about Wreck-It Ralph though?
No Wreck-It Ralph.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify. See, maybe if he could squeak his way in there too. What else we got here? I'll answer this just because it's probably I'm the only one here that could answer it, but it's such a random question. And it's quick. This comes in from Vulcus, $75 lifetime, $25 current play. Let's go. Said Horizon Zero Dawn, which, by the way, if you haven't played that game, you should be playing it if you own a PlayStation. Do you think we'll get another DLC, a version 2, or nothing? We're absolutely going to see more Horizon Zero Dawn. It's just a matter of in what form. Horizon Zero Dawn sold incredibly well. It sold consoles, and it grabbed a whole shitload of Game of the Year awards. So, nothing is not going to happen. If we were going to get DLC, I feel like we'd already have it by now. So I think we're just going to be dumping right into Horizon Zero Dawn 2, and I'd hold out for a Tokyo Game Show or an E3 2019 on hearing about that, unless they just slip that bad boy in. I mean, it's not coming out this year because we'd already hear about it, and it'd be like a winter release. So yeah, keep your eyes out for it. I'm down for it too because the story in that game is actually pretty dope, and the end ended perfectly to line up into another one without being a cliffhanger that made you want to cut your own balls off. So good stuff. I'm going for no DLC, skipping right into Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Oh boy, this comes in from Fluffy Raven. $10 current, $80 lifetime. Let's go. Would you rather always say everything that's on your mind or never speak again? I feel like you should be asking this question to a lot of people on social media who do basically say everything there's on their mind with no filter whatsoever. I don't know. What would you rather? Never speak again or always say everything that's on your mind?
Man, always saying everything that's on your mind is definitely going to get you in trouble. Definitely. Yep. I mean, it'll probably get you in legal trouble. Yeah. It'll probably get you in trouble just in general.
Yeah.
So I'd probably say just to never speak again, but I'd learn sign language.
Fair. I guess that's a workaround. Whether or not I had sign language, I'd just go for never speak again. Yeah, not because I'm afraid of what would necessarily come out of my mouth, but it would just be really annoying to be constantly. You'd literally never stop talking, and it would be a stream of consciousness. Half the shit wouldn't even make sense.
It'd be terrible.
You'd just be looking around the room, and all of a sudden you'd just be like lamp, just like a word come out of your mouth.
Lamp. I'm thirsty.
Yeah. It would be awful.
Piss warm.
Yeah. It would just be terrible. So yeah,
next question.
I'm gonna go with that. What do we got here? Ski Master asks, $140 lifetime, by the way, $10 current pledge. What is the worst class to go against in Realm Royale, and why is it Mage?
It's Mage.
It is Mage. And it's Mage because Mage can literally do everything everyone else can, but better.
But better.
And that's not hyperbole.
That's facts.
You can name literally any game mechanic in the game, and Mage can do it, and they can do it better. And that's why you see mages everywhere whether you're solos, if you're squads, it's just squads of 4 mages.
You know what I think? I think for one of our episodes for this Realm Royale replay, I'm thinking we should do an entire episode dedicated to watching mages die.
That would be very topical right now.
Yeah. It'd be beautiful. It'd be a beautiful thing.
Just, and the only good mage is a dead mage. That kind of deal. But yeah, no, mages are horribly broken, and I'm scared. And I said that, I think I said this in your chat. I mentioned this in my stream too. When I was reading the patch notes, and they mentioned that they're going to be pulling back on the stone spear staff thing, whatever.
Yeah.
And the fireball.
Yep.
But there was no mention of anything else. And they specifically, there's no mention of the ice block move. And they said they like how mage is being played right now. So apparently, to them, of all the classes in a squad to get up in your face to do the majority of the damage, mage is apparently not warrior, not engineer, not anything like that. Mage is the one they want to see flying first into a group. Y'all be playing squads right now, and be 2 mages, 2 warriors is a pretty common setup right now because it's they have such high mobility, and both of them, when they get in their face, they do horrible, horrible damage. Yeah. And so, but coincidentally, or ironically, or however you want to look at it, when the fight starts, the warriors aren't the ones using their actives of the leap and the charge to get in. The warriors are staying back, and the mages are the ones flying in, and the warriors are playing back up to the mages, which is
you have to.
Which is just
you
dumb.
have to play that way. Yeah, you just have to right now. So we'll see. It's still alpha. We'll see. I mean, mage is basically Zerg right now, and you know it's everybody knows it's broken. They're beatable, but it takes a lot more to beat them than it is for them to beat you. So we'll see
for sure. What else we got here? Let's see. Martin, 165 lifetime. He is our freshest, to my knowledge, $100 current pledge. Woo!
Thanks, Martin. You the man.
Said, I have been looking forward to going to Gen Con next year. What sort of convention would you like to go to if money and travel wasn't an issue?
Convention?
Yeah, like is there a convention?
I'm easy. I would just like to go to BlizzCon. I've been to one. Just one.
I've always wanted to go to E3. But I've wanted to always go to E3 when they announce a new console. I wanted to be there for the hype around the new console launch window period. Most of the E3s I've wanted to go to are the E3s from like 12 years ago. And the more current E3s I'm a little wishy-washy on. But I've always kind of wanted to be there at E3 for that kind of stuff. Outside of E3, I'm not really a big convention guy.
Comic-Con would be really fun to go to. They do like a ton of movie stuff, and
yeah, like
that'd be interesting. But BlizzCon, I think, would be the biggest for me, like easily.
I just get like I'm done with the convention usually after the first day, and then the rest of the time it's just I'm just there, and that's it. So, but E3 for sure, I'd be down for that. Black Jimmy,
so
we all love Black Jimmy. He's also in at that $100 current pledge, $425 lifetime support.
Let's fucking
said watching GSL. I've noticed Artosis has dropped NovaWar's "You fool" catchphrase a few times. Have you noticed any other content creators that have borrowed lingo from LAGTV? Somebody used giraffes once, and I think that might have also been Tasis Artosis.
No,
what's somebody else?
What's his face there? Dude from Europe. No.
From Europe.
Dude from Europe. Yeah, dude from Europe.
There are several. I'm trying to think of who would be most likely.
Somebody's gonna say it in chat. Somebody's gonna say it in chat.
Yeah, there was a giraffes thing was picked up. Bob the Zealot, I think, got used once or something like that. Or Steve the Stalker,
No,
one of those two got used once. Roddy, was it Roddy that did it?
no, no, no. Fuck, man, that's gonna really, really bug me. I forget, man. I forget. I forget his name.
I doubt that
Um,
Artosis was saying "you fool" and thinking of NovaWar when he said it. I can tell you that much.
probably. Yeah, probably not.
But yeah, there were more hyper specific LAGTV isms that were used over.
I
the
mean,
years.
Nathanius says when cheese fails quite a bit, but he always gives us a shout out and shit. So
Yeah,
like,
and that's Nate because he came up on LAGTV. So
yeah. But yeah, no, it doesn't happen too often.
yeah, not too often. Every now and then, but not too often. Especially not too often these days. Ooh. This is another Realm Royale question. I'll toss this one out. Says, Sergeant, this is from Sergeant Dragon, 110 lifetime, $10 current. Says, Realm Royale. Would you rather, or would you think about, sorry, a change where you land with a white version of your class weapon?
It's a white version.
So just like a shitty version of your class weapon instead of a knife.
Oh no, I think knife's fine.
If you did that, I feel like it would be a lot harder to balance early game that way because it removes a lot of the random nature. At that point, you're just looking for armor,
Yeah,
basically.
and yeah, and I also think like it would ruin the feeling you get when you get a legendary weapon. You know what I mean? Like it's like yeah, I already had it. Now it's just different color.
It's basically like having an alt, but it's a weapon. Like you're getting
Yes.
your ultimate, but it's a weapon.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, no.
Yeah.
I think knife's fine.
Let's see. I gotta give it up. This is to Goose. $10 lifetime, $10 current. So fresh.
Let's go. Fresh.
So fresh and so clean. If you had $1 million to spend on an experience, can include whoever, just not things, any material item you take home with you. I don't even know what he means by that. Just $1 million to spend on an experience. How would you extravagantly spend it? The caveat being, if I ever hit the lottery, I'm giving a cool mill to whoever has the best answer. Pressure's on.
Ooh.
Pressure's on.
If I had if I could spend $1 million on some experience, basically, what would it be? Like a full blown $1 million. Well, the most extravagant, just $1 million worth of hookers and blow.
Wow, that's well, depending on the quality of the hookers and the quality of the blow. That's
I mean,
either,
for $1 million, you could probably get some high end hookers and high end blow.
Yeah, just instead of like 5 hookers, you'd be like 3.
It'd be like the Bilzerian lifestyle for like
like 4 keys of coke as long as it's good, plus a few hookers, and at least one of you is not going home.
I'm just trying to think of the funnest thing, just in case this guy ever becomes a multimillionaire. I just want to earn $1 million.
All right, this is what I'm saying. All right, I'm gonna gather 3 of my not idols, but 3 people that I look up to in terms of being interesting or intelligent or like the type people. So like I'm not gonna like pick specific people right now, but I would just like to give examples. So somebody might say like a Neil deGrasse Tyson or whatever, right? So I pick 3 people. I'd have to sit down and think about them for a while. I'd take those 3. I'd rent a big ass yacht, and we'd go out, and we'd have we'd have a party with like a couple hundred people, but it would be it would include days of just these people giving me basically personal talks on subjects that I give them. I'd be like, all right, I want you to come out, but I want you to talk about this subject that I want to hear your thoughts on for like, I don't know, 2 hours. I'm going to pay you $150,000 to do that. And then we'll throw a big ass party on a yacht at the end. So that could be anyone. That could be like a Neil deGrasse. Could be a Michael Jordan. Could be a Hulk Hogan. It could be a Jordan Peterson. It could be
an Obama.
Could be Obama. It could be fucking get Bush out there. He'll blitz up. Go fucking get Bush out there. Be like, bro, was it really an inside job or was it not an inside job? Not that you get a straight answer, but that's the joke.
That's the joke.
You know, pick 3 people, get them out on a yacht in the middle of nowhere with a couple hundred other people, and have like your own personal convention that just ends in a big ass party, probably with whatever leftover money I had, hookers and blow. End it all with hookers and blow. Wouldn't you want to see like
cheated.
Bill?
You just totally cheated. Now
Like-
you've taken my hookers and blow, but added a whole nother experience to it.
Yeah, but think about it. Bill Nye the Science Guy with hookers and blow.
Sounds pretty fire.
Or oh look, I'll change it up. All right, Bill Nye the Science Guy, but I get him on mushrooms.
Perfect. Bill Nye the Science Guy is like he's not even a scientist. He's not even a real scientist. Like he's an ambassador of science. He's not even like he's not a scientist. He's not even a real scientist.
Well, it's not like I'm going to get him and then go ask him like deep science questions. I could be something as silly as, "Hey, Bill, how high were you when you made Bill Nye the Science Guy?" I'd be asking questions about that TV show because Bill. The important thing for Bill Nye isn't that he's like the most qualified person in the world to give you fine, super fine details on all things science.
He knows a lot about
science.
He knows
a lot. The important thing is he raised a generation and made them interested in science. Yeah. And so as adults, he still has like rapport with these people who just so happen to also be voting age with children now. Yeah. And so he's important that way.
I literally just watched like not a documentary on Bill Nye, but like an in-depth video about Bill Nye. And I always thought he was an actual scientist. But he's not. He got his start through television.
Yes.
He was like good with kids and he had that look. And he's a smart guy and he knows a lot, but he never got like a scientific degree. Like he's not an actual, like he didn't fucking go to Harvard or wherever you get a bomb science degree.
Definitely not Harvard.
Definitely not Harvard, but you know what I'm saying.
But yeah, no, I got you. And for those like Mr. Miyagi's out there poo-pooing my Jordan Peterson pick. Look, I don't, and I know other people will as well. Especially on YouTube. YouTube, hot button topic, Jordan B. Peterson. Look, I don't agree with everything that comes out the guy's mouth. But if anyone denies, and it's not that he has endless original ideas, but here's an idea, you don't either. Very few people have wholly unique ideas. The important thing and the interesting thing I find about Jordan Peterson is that, and you can't deny it, the man is incredibly intelligent and articulate and very specific about what he says. And he's an interesting person to listen to, unless you've already placed it in your head that you think that he's just kind of some stuck-up fuck, which would be a very odd stretch for you to have at this point. He's just an interesting person. You can ask him a question, and he is very qualified to give you some very seriously interesting answers.
The only thing that I don't like about Jordan Peterson, and I've listened to a ton of his stuff now. Mm-hmm. The only thing I don't really like about him is he comes off like a know-it-all. Like he comes off because he's so good at arguing. Like it wouldn't surprise me if he was a lawyer. Like he'd be a fucking bomb-ass lawyer.
He's a clinical psychologist, right?
Yeah, like he's a really, really good. It's like if he was bullshitting you would believe his bullshit. Like that's the thing. Like he's so good at talking to people and pushing the right buttons and understanding what people's faults are in an argument and attacking them in certain ways, and then constructing his words so that you cannot combat what he's saying. It's like he checkmates everybody into looking wrong, even though they may not be. Like he verbally checkmates people from their own words. Like they'll say something and he does it in a way that he'll make you look stupid without even saying a whole lot. He's like, motherfucker, I didn't say that. You're telling me I said that.
Well, in truthfulness, 99.9% of the time, he didn't say it.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
I get it. But it's the way he does it that comes off like an arrogant cuck.
And I think he probably knows that, right? Like, and he's talked about how he comes across to people in the past. He understands that. But and I can see, like, when you look at him,
condescending. That is a very good.
Here's part of it too. As a clinical psychologist and somebody who here's what I appreciate about Jordan. He listens so fucking carefully to every word that comes out of the person's mouth that's speaking with him. And he doesn't look off into the distance. He isn't looking down at his desk. He isn't looking at a phone. Because it's his job. This is what he does for like a living outside of this as a psychologist. He's sitting there, and you can see he is focusing so hard. His brow fucking folds. Like he looks almost like he's angry. He's listening so hard and if you watch any of his interviews, if you've never noticed this before, it becomes like you'll never unsee it. Every time somebody's talking to him, his body language change. He shifts towards the person as best he can. Even in one interview, there was a girl that was basically behind him, and he was still like uncomfortably finding a way to fucking like get his body and still be like looking at the camera and looking at like everything addresses the person, and he listens as carefully as he can to what they're saying, which is important because he also thinks an awful lot about the words coming out of his own mouth and is hyper-specific because he knows if he is not, and he doesn't recall every word that comes out of his own mouth and every word that comes out of the person next to him, it's going to get spun in 65,000 different ways to make it look like he's some sort of fucking crazy bastard. And they still try
but him doing that makes him look like some crazy bastard.
Well, sure.
Because like he's too meticulous. Like he's too...
a normal person,
like,
he doesn't seem sincere. He seems like he's a robot, right? Like
because he is a robot. Because he's a robot.
He's
like he's
taking information and spitting it out.
I don't think I've ever seen him use any real. He doesn't. He's very robotic. That's a good way of putting it.
I think you kind of have to be a clinical psychologist. If you're listening to people and helping them with their problems and their serious life issues all the time, if you're not a bit apathetic in terms of how things affect you, and he's actually admitted to having a bad temper several times, but like in terms of showing, the emotions that you're describing, like in terms of like his canter in his speech, I think you have to kind of just, if you go insane. Can you imagine being a clinical psychologist and having a deeply emotional response to everything, to everyone that came through your door? You'd shoot yourself in the head in the first 6 months of your practice being open.
But I mean, he's on all the time. Like, we're not talking about a one-on-one session with somebody. This is the way he is. Every single video I've ever seen of him in the history of ever, his demeanor's the same. The way he speaks the same. Mm-hmm. Even if he shows emotion, it's not even through facial expressions. Usually, it's usually with a high pitched of his voice. His voice will get like, no, I didn't say, like he'll do like some weird fucking. Listen, I like him. I actually like him. I think he's.
I agree with what you're saying. Like he definitely comes across all those things. I don't think he's intentionally being an asshole all the time.
He's not a guy. He is not a guy that I could be friends with. He's not a guy that I could hang out with. He's really not a guy that I would want to talk to for any period of time either, because no matter what, you can just assume that you're going to look like an asshole and he's going to look like a god no matter what you do. And there is no, like, can you imagine being on a podcast with him, like, and bantering? Like, it would be it would be like one guy getting his asshole torn while the other guy just strokes his own ego.
Well, I think it
endlessly.
Depends. I think
like,
it depends.
That's what it would be.
I think it depends on the topic of discussion. I mean, right now we've basically seen every interview he's ever been in. Every interviewer is asking him without fail almost all the exact same questions worded slightly differently, or basing the launch off of the interviews on misconstrued recallings of things that he's said in the past. Like every interview is like the same questions, and he's giving the same answers basically over and over and over again, which is also part of why he just seems like a fucking robot. He's answering the same shit on every program, like 4 different channels of BBC, same questions, different fucking person. Comes over, goes to Australia, same questions, different person. Comes back to Canada, same questions, different person. States, same thing, over and over and over again. And so yeah, it is what it is. And people say that he has an agenda. Well, I don't want to shatter your soul, but I have an agenda. Jeff has an agenda. You have an agenda. Your wife or your husband or your girlfriend or your grandmother or your great-grandfather. Everyone has an agenda. Everyone has something that is trying to benefit them in some way, shape, or form. If the worst thing, in my opinion, if the worst thing that Jordan Peterson is coming at people with is to, from how I interpret what I'm hearing him say, if the worst thing that he's coming at is that the government, within Canada as well as, for example, the government should not be stepping into the realm of free speech, and then outside of that he's selling a book that is about how he personally believes people should be introspectively looking at their lives to change their lives for the better. If that's the worst agenda that Jordan B. Peterson has, then fuck me. There's a lot worse going on out there for agendas than that. And I gotta respond to this one too. I get on it.
Here we go. I
get on it.
Let's wrap it up here soon. It's almost time to end the podcast.
It's almost time. I won't roll it too bad.
Here we go.
But I've seen this. It's a really common one. Ironically, where people say that Jordan Peterson doesn't have an original idea. I've seen about 1,000 times somebody say Jordan Peterson is the stupid person's idea of a smart person. I've seen that said about Donald fucking Trump. That's not a particularly original fucking thought either. The fact of the matter is, anyone who's even mildly intelligent themselves, or even I don't even want to say intelligent, people understand that Jordan is not out there being a philosopher with his own ideas. He quotes people all the fucking time. He doesn't try to take ideas as his own. He doesn't go out there and spit it out and then say, that is a Jordan Peterson special brought to you by me on this date in 2018. He will literally give you like the breakdown of where these thoughts and ideas can come from, and where his research has taken him, and how it's altered his own views and perspectives on things. In my view, if the difference between an intelligent person and an unintelligent person is the ability to know that you don't know everything, and then go and research and learn as much as you can about it, and then when something is presented to you, to be able to have the forethought to change your opinion if it is presented correctly, and you go with it. That is what I see or have seen of Jordan B. Peterson's work. That's one of the impressive parts for me, and why I think he's a relatively intelligent guy. If he is a stupid person's idea of a smart person, I'm a goddamn idiot.
He said it, boys.
I said it.
He said it.
Don't at me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for this week's Technical Alpha podcast. I'm going to pull up the recent list of the Patreons so we can give a proper send-off to our... I'm not even going to bring up the end screen because it's the wrong names. I'm going to leave it on. So you're not off camera right now. Don't get naked.
Okay.
Don't do anything crazy.
All right.
Jetrix. Just continuing to just basically fund our everyday lives. Postal Panda, Matt M, Chico, Martin, Black Jimmy, Toad of Steel, Jorbach, Jamaican Jazz, Adam B, Derek P, Legend Status, and more. I mean, there's other people guys tossed out before. Mr. Miyagi, Soft Shoe, William. Oh, we got what else we got here? Oh, here's another one. Klaus as well. Richard, Kyle. Hunter, Nikhil, Saren. There are some heavy ass hitters up in this list.
Heavy hitters.
All of you, gods, everyone's a god on Patreon. To be honest with you, I'd just be here for a very long time listing off names. I'm just picking some shit out of there. Bless you all. You're all legends. And this podcast continues because of you. And we will be back. Well, next week. Have we decided how we're? Next week is your Vegas week, is it not, or is it the week after?
Week after.
Okay.
Next week. So next week I'll be on the podcast, but what I'm gonna do is I probably won't have my screen on because I get my laser eye surgery next week. So they're probably gonna tell me to not sit in front of a monitor. So I'll probably just have my webcam off, but I'll be here.
That's fine
with my voice.
That's fine.
Unless they tell me I can, then great.
Yeah.
But something tells me they're going to tell me try not to stare at a screen.
I think you even actually have to look down for a period of time. Actually, after that, unless I'm thinking of a different procedure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They said things get back to normal after a couple days. So
yeah, and it doesn't take very long to heal.
Yeah.
The body is a wonderful thing. So yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll tackle that when the time comes, and then we'll maybe do an early cast or something the week following, or we'll figure something out for the week after. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. We will be back, I guess, next week, unless something happens, like Jeff's suddenly corneas get peeled off and never replaced.
Oh, don't jinx me now.
Jeff come back with grayed over eyes. He's like the next fucking blind ninja. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much once again, and until we see you, have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, and peace. Actually, I do have to put the end screen up. I just realized that we have the outro tune.
Oh,
I should probably do that. There we go. It's there. Peace.
Peace.